Andy, here is the starting lineup for race number 1 of round 2. John Bowe in the Shell FAI Falcon on pole, 54.84. And sharing the front row in the number 1 Winfield Commodore is Mark Skaife. The second row today made up of car number 30 Glenn Seaton, the Peter Jackson Falcon, and Larry Perkins in the Castrol Commodore VR. Row number 3, Dick Johnson, the Shell FAI Falcon, and sharing that row with him, Thomas Mazera in the Mobile Commodore VR. Row number 4 is 05, 50 years of age today, Peter Brock, and car number 7, Neil Crompton, the Coke Commodore.
Row 5, car 2, Jimmy Richards in the second Winfield Commodore with car 4, Wayne Gardner alongside. And row 6, car 35, Alan Jones struggling a bit in the Falcon, and 49, David Attard.
Row number 7 is Greg Crick and Paul Romano. Row 8, John Trimble and Bill O'Brien, and they are off the start. Mark Skaife getting a brilliant start as he got out of there just clear of John Bowe, and Dick Johnson just came ramming up the inside of Larry Perkins. Next was Glenn Seaton, then it was Thomas Mazera as they come beneath the Dunlop Bridge and head up to the hairpin for the first time. And that was a great start from Mark Skaife, and he's got those 2 Shell Ford Falcons starting to close up under brakes.
Didn't Johnson make a sensational leap from back there? He shuffled right up behind his teammate John Bowe, and they come onto the back straight for the first time. It'll be a real drag race as they get the power down on these Chevy and Ford V8s. 240 kilometres an hour as they come through the sweeper for the first time. Skaife in control.
Well, I think Dick was very aware of how quick Larry was off the line in the dash this morning, and he really did apply himself. Might have even had a bit of Sandown memory in his mind that the start is super important if you want to stay with the leaders in this field.
Okay, Skaife will find himself under a lot of pressure. The youngster's back racing after that horrific practice accident at Eastern Creek, but he's running at the end of the field he likes to. That's the pointy end, up front in the Winfield Commodore, and he leads the Shell dynamic duo of John Bowe and Dick Johnson and Larry Perkins back and forth. And one would think that John Bowe won't let Mark Skaife get too far away as we take the Dunlop tyres race cam with Dick Johnson. He sweeps to the outside and says to JB, come on, let's get on with this.
Yes, he really is being quite forceful here, and it's, they really look ominous when the 2 team cars are running 1-2 so closely. Mark Skaife must feel like, well, the Lone Ranger out there, if nothing else.
Well, Tonto is pronto. Let me tell you, he's right behind John Bowe, and he'll put a lot of pressure under on the back of Skaife here. And Johnson almost signalling to John Bowe, if you can't do it, I can. Now, come on.
Yes, we haven't seen Dick this forceful for a couple of weekends.
This is really great stuff from the Dunlop prepared cars at the moment. They've been worried that with their restriction on tyres, they may have been in a lot of trouble if the weather was hot. Well, it looks like the wind's swept around. We may have a southerly coming in here, dropping the temperatures down, and the critical track temperatures will help hold these Dunlop cars together. They can see the 2 Shell Fords really attacking it. Larry Perkins also on Dunlop rubber in 4th.
Johnson again just sweeps to the outside, not planning anything there, makes a really nice entrance to that corner, tries to get it on early coming out. And you can see Skaife just starting to get away as their Dunlop tyres race cam shows that. And John Bowe says, if you got more, boss, do it. And he said, OK, I will.
Well, they changed the engine in that car after qualifying yesterday. Dick wasn't very happy with his qualifying time, and he was very happy this morning. And look at it, just got a couple of more ponies, and John Bowe's out of it.
No shortage of mumbo from DJ in 17. Look at that down the back straight, just cleaned up his teammate in a straight line. Now he's got Skaife in his sights. They come across the start-finish line once again. It's Skaife, Johnson, Bowe, Perkins, Seaton, Mazera and Crompton. That's the top 7.
Oh, lifted the wheel up on the curb going in, and now moves up on the tail as the Dunlop tyres race cam show you. That's the break between our race leader. Huge crowd off to the right as they come up to the hairpin and the runoff area, the new runoff area put in only a couple of weeks ago.
Got to give it to Mark Skaife. They really knocked this car into shape very quickly when he got here on Friday. Don't forget, he hasn't driven the car for 4 or 5 weeks, and they were in all sorts of trouble with the chassis setup. They worked very, very hard on dialing this car in, and boy, it's working well now. Look at this, side by side as John Bowe gets an extra puff of wind on the outside of the team boss. They'll come down toward the Coca-Cola corner, side by side under brakes. Let's see who's going to give way as we take Dunlop race cam once again, and John Bowe much better placed for that position to take advantage, and he's going to have a go at Skaife.
Just behind them, Larry Perkins, Glenn Seaton, Thomas Mazera, that's the order as they come past the pits. And it's John Bowe right up tucked behind that very high wing on the Commodore of Mark Skaife's Winfield machine. And it might be on for young and old here the next couple of laps.
Just a little bit of oversteer in Mark's car there. You can see him leaning into that corner. It's might be causing him a little bit of concern. It's not the type of thing you want on a long race, to be wearing the tyre out.
It is a long race too, Alan. This is lap 6 of a 38-lap heat. Boy, the tyres are going to be gasping for breath by the time they finish this one. Skaife certainly showing a clean pair of heels. The car launches out of that hairpin pretty quickly. But as we've seen before, plenty of power from the Shell forwards in a straight line. They usually close on him, and they're very, very strong under brakes in the Coca-Cola corner.
Great shot this, our Dunlop roof cam down to Coke corner. Bowe just in front. Mark Skaife leads the race. And watch this next turn. This is where the tail comes out on Skaife's car, and has done the last couple of days. And it is absolutely flat strap. A rise coming up here, and a drop down into the left-hander. Great pitches.
Yep.
Coming up to the Dunlop Bridge. Skaife doing a tradesman-like job of holding John Bowe at bay. And I'll tell you what, he hasn't shifted offline. He's hugging the guardrail all the way down here on the left. Says, John, if you're strong enough, you can go by me on the outside. Well,
after a couple of very quick laps early on, they've slipped into the 56-second time bracket now. The fastest time of 55.52 to Johnson on about the third lap. So time slipping away as these three cars get involved in a terrific struggle for the lead at the front of the pack. There's Skaife coming under more fire from Bowe, the man who's been setting the pace all weekend. Let's see if they can do anything under brakes here. Commodore and forward.
Notice the way Skaife just drifted across to the inside there, just covered his bets. If you're going to pass me, you'll have to do it on the outside. Very soft suspension set up for the Gibson Motorsport team and the Winfield Commodore. And this is a fiery baptism of welcome back Mark today.
You can see Skaife doing a fair bit of brake locking there with this soft setup. Looks like the car's rolling around a bit as the weight shifts as he comes up to a corner. That may do some damage to the tyres over the long term, Al.
Can't do it too continuously, but as long as you don't see a big stream of smoke coming off the tyres, they're not really going to cause him too much concern.
Hard under brakes for Brambles. Very, very hard on brakes this track. He braked to almost stop, standstill at Brambles hairpin. Then it's very hard on him again for Coca-Cola. And then once again as you get to the end of pit straight, so they really do give them a serve here.
You'll notice the field is still very close, although not always right up there tight on camera. The formula is so competitive that the first 10-12 cars are really within cooey of the leaders at all time. The slightest little hiccup up here, or if we have a bit of a dingle, there's going to be a swamp from the 3rd, 4th, and 5th place guys in a hurry. Glenn Seaton nicely placed there behind Larry.
And what? Oh,
that's the type of thing you can't do too many times in a row, Mike.